for us writers, we know it's the old trick, although a lot of readers don't notice it's the old trick. Every big new epic or something that starts, the new guy comes to town and needs to see and learn everything because the reader needs to see and learn everything. The first time I noticed that was WKRP in Cincinnati. Because the first episode, Andy is the new station manager, and he shows up, and he's got to meet everybody one at a time, and you learn the different quirks and how the station works. And I started, so I knew that, and then I watched some other show. I was like, wait a second, this one opens up with the new person being assigned as the new partner on the police team, so he's got to learn how the CSI thing works. And you go, oh, so let's just bring the new Mistborn kid in to learn how the magic works and everything. But I actually want to flip some of the things we were describing, because there's another equally bad mistake where the author just doesn't want to do any explanations and assumes you'll figure it out. Two examples, and I like the work of Peter F. Hamilton. He's this big epic science fiction writer. But man, is it an investment. You've got to like 100 pages before you kind of figure out what's going on, because he just throws you into the middle of it with all kinds of political factions and science fiction powers and all kinds of things going on. And if you don't invest the time to figure out what's going on, you will be lost. But when you do get it, then it's great. Another writer is Ian Banks, that I know a lot of people like. I just plain gave up and threw the book across, because it's 50 pages, and I said, you still haven't even told me what's going on. I know people like him, that's not a judgmental thing, but he doesn't explain anything. He just throws you right in, he uses the words, and it just, life is too short.
Well, it's important to remember as well that there are different audiences. You know, there are people who want the Brandon Sanderson fantasy where you get into it really fast. And there's also a significantly huge portion of the audience that wants, like, Malazan Book of the Fallen, that has the steepest learning curve I've ever seen in a fantasy novel. And there are people who love both. And so you know, if you pick what you love and you write the kind that you love, and know that there will be an audience for that, assuming you do it well.
The thing with that is I like to trust reader intelligence. I like to believe that my readers are smart and they will figure out things even if I don't lay it out, you know, little breadcrumbs for everything. Yes, there is some degree where I write and people are like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, keep reading, you'll figure it out. But to some degree, yeah, if you do that too much, then their confusion will overcome their interest. So you do have to find that balance, and it is very dependent on your authors or your readers. I do enjoy books that I get to the end and like, now I get it, and I feel smart for getting it, you know.
Yes.
And I'm glad that I persevered, but at the same time, yeah, it is. There are some people who are like, no, first chapter, second chapter, I don't get it, I'm done. And then you just have to accept that that's going to be the case.
Or if it gets the confusing part, just throw a monster in there and we'll keep reading.
First of all, I do see some hands. We will be doing questions a little later, so don't worry, we will get to your questions eventually. One of the nice rules of thumb for explaining something, to know how much you need to explain, is just to think, will the characters be using this to solve a problem at some point? So consider Lord of the Rings as a great example of this. There's magic. We don't know how Gandalf does magic, right? We don't know how pretty much any of the magic works. We know that if someone puts the ring on their finger, then they turn invisible, and that's important for us to know. One of the only magical effects that ever gets explained that has rules in Lord of the Rings is the Witch King can only be, no man can kill him, right? That's what we know. And it's important that we know that, because, spoiler warning, eventually a woman will kill him. And we know what the rules are so that we understand how those rules are used to solve the problem. But like Gandalf throwing burning pine cones at orcs when they're trapped in a tree, we don't need to understand the rules behind that, because how he lights those pine cones on fire isn't the point. So, you know, and then you can extend that example into something like Star Wars. A major plot problem in Empire Strikes Back is the stupid hyperdrive won't work in the stupid ship, and so we keep not getting where we need to go. And that's an interesting one because we never understand how the hyperdrive works at any point. Now, I guarantee someone in this room can tell me exactly how a Star Wars hyperdrive works. But that's beside the point. The movie itself, you don't need to know, because all you do need to know is R2-D2 can fix things, and eventually he'll fix this. Done.
He's a wizard.
So, I would like to ask a question of you two. How many of you, first of all, in the audience, how many of you are or want to be writers? Very good. Okay, everyone else, thanks for coming anyway.